Each year in the United States alone, 4 million children are born. Each of them wired to be an athlete for life. Human beings are wired to move and play, but how many of them will continue to do so? How many will keep kicking and hitting balls and chasing each other?
It didn't matter if we were playing basketball or if we were just playing a game of tag with everyone in the neighborhood. We were always moving and we were always having fun.
How many kids will slip on a uniform, join a team, and stay in the game?
At some level, we have to ask ourselves, how much are we willing to invest in the kids in our society? And what's the role that we as a society have for making sure that kids have equal access?
Sport is probably one of the best tools that we can use to develop people, and if the schools aren't going to do it, then the sports organizations need to step in and help do that.
How many kids will receive the social, mental, and physical benefits that flow to those whose bodies stay in motion?
We have to start first with the scientific truth and then build upon the truth.
We have to suck it up and find ways to help them because the potential is there. These kids want to lead, they want to be in sports, they want to do something with their life.
I believe that the work that you are doing in Project Play is so important because the ideas, the support that you can provide, the network that you can help provide to communities across the country is essential.
Welcome to the Project Play Summit, where we assess the nation's state of play.
Do you think that he was a better coach than your dad?
Yeah, because my dad yells a lot.
This is where leaders take next steps in building healthy communities through sport.
Yeah, you can applaud that. That's beautiful. The voice of God, Tom Ferry, over here to my right, who you'll be hearing from in just a couple of minutes. I'm Dan Hicks with NBC Sports, and I can't tell you what a privilege it is to be a part of this Project Play Summit. As we've gotten closer to this day and prepared for this day, I've certainly learned a lot more about it, heard about it, but now in its third year here at the museum, just along Pennsylvania Avenue, I can't think of a better venue for what this country needs right now than a little high-spirited, great vibe here for kids throughout sports. Like a lot of you in this room, I love sports. It's been a part of my life and it's my livelihood. Always loved the game and was lucky enough to be able to play the game. But as you saw that video described there, not everybody has a chance to play the game, and that's what this summit, a part of this summit is all about, is introducing kids to the game of sport. And it just helps them throughout their entire lives because we've all seen the power of sports in what it can do. So you're going to be hearing from a lot of leaders today, a lot of people that have been involved in this summit through the first couple of years and obviously year three now. So contributions from over 300 leaders. Many of you are in this room and have claimed your own stake in this great cause. Finding ways to activate on what has happened in the first couple of years and then just seeing this through year three and then down the road. It is extremely exciting to think about the possibilities of what this Project Play can do for kids, not just this year, but 4, 5, 10 years down the road. Really exciting to think about. So that's what this day is all about, to brainstorm, get together, hear from leaders, hear from kids who we'll hear from in just a few minutes as well, so that all the kids in America have an opportunity through sport regardless of zip code or ability. That is the theme, and that'll continue to be the main theme as we move along. We've got a great list of personalities and speakers, as I mentioned. One of them highlighted here by the Major League Baseball Commissioner, Rob Manfred. He's with us today, along with more than 50 other speakers, real national game changers and grassroots innovators alike who are going to have an impact on where this Project Play goes through the years. And so at this opportunity, I'd like to thank some of the sponsors that have been so instrumental in driving this cause. First of all, a presenting sponsor, Target, so involved with this and just continues to be. 3-time Summit sponsors, Nike and Laureus Sport for Good Foundation. 2-time Summit sponsor, Harris Family Charitable Foundation, which is also supporting a new Project Play initiative you'll hear more about later today. Ralph C. Wilson Foundation, a foundation new to the scene that you'll also hear more about later today, and Personal Best Media and the Horner Foundation. So a round of applause to those big supporters of Project Play. Also, thanks to the others that have made this possible today. Sports and Fitness Industry Association and Sports Marketing Surveys for the data that drives this work. USA Bobsled and Skeleton, which has supported Project Play since the start, and by the way, today has a bobsled right here on site, wrapped in the same design that Team USA used in international competition for a couple of years. So be sure to get your photo opportunity with the bobsled before you leave today, and share it with hashtag Project Play, and we'll go ahead and retweet the best of them and see who actually gets the most response out of that. So make sure you get your bobsled pick. U.S. Olympic Committee, thank you for the video that you'll see today as well. And the First Tee of Greater D.C. for keeping us active all day with golf demos. Some of you might have seen the kids practicing on the mini golf course as you came through here to this room. First Tee is a big part of what I do with golf for NBC. It's just a great program, and it's great to see that that organization is part of this Project Play as well. Also, thanks to Bill Mayer, an Aspen Institute trustee who has been there since the start. Also a reminder, if you're in the room or following along via the live stream, be sure to engage with us on social media throughout the day. Whatever piques your interest, go ahead and tweet about it on Twitter and Facebook. It's at Aspen INST Sports and hashtag Project Play. So be sure to include those hashtags with your tweet. And without further ado, we talked about some of the key sponsors that have been so involved in pushing this project along through the years, and I can't think of a better one or a bigger one than the first one I'm going to bring up here. Andrea Nielsen, Director of Corporate Social Responsibility for Target. I'd like to bring Andrea up to the podium right now. Andrea.
Thanks, Dan. Good morning. How's everybody doing? Yeah? Great day to be in DC. Thanks, Dan. Thanks to all of the sponsors, and thanks to Tom and the team at Aspen for setting the vision for Project Play and for bringing us together again this year. I know I'm excited to be here, and I'm proud for Target to be one of the founding members of Project Play 2020, an initiative you'll hear more about later this morning. As part of that collaboration, we've been working with Aspen on a series of what we're calling parent checklists, resources for building physical literacy that help guide parents and caregivers as they introduce their kids to sports. This project is part of Target's commitment to build strong communities. And in fact, in the last 2 years, we've granted more than $50 million to leading organizations across the country, many of you are in this room, whose work aligns with one or more of the 8 plays and help youth and families eat healthier, increase their physical activity, and discover the power of play every day. The most recent example of this complements Target's support of U.S. youth soccer as well as Major League Soccer. This summer, we announced a $14 million commitment to increase youth access to the sport through 2 initiatives. One is a local grant program that's open now, by the way, in case any of you are interested, and a partnership with the U.S. Soccer Foundation to build 100 new play spaces by 2020. Like all of you, we are focused on leveling the playing field, ensuring opportunity regardless of race, gender, ability, or zip code. And at Target, we know that we have a responsibility to use our voice to inspire, to empower, and to create a vision for a new kind of strong that all kids can see themselves in. So I'm going to leave you this morning with a behind-the-scenes look at a campaign we launched earlier this year for C9, our exclusive activewear line. It celebrates real people, real stories, challenges all kinds of stereotypes, and I hope starts to change perception about what it means to be an athlete. Let's take a look.
I started dancing when I was 5. I started with ballet. Hi, I'm Lizzie and I love to dance.
I suffered a spinal contusion my last season playing. The identity of football was kind of taken. I'm Keith Mitchell, former professional football player turned yogi.
I'm capable of way more than I give myself credit for. My name is Kendra Bailey, and I'm an adaptive athlete.
Dance to me is an emotional release, so if I'm having a good day, I go to jazz class. If I'm having a bad day, I go to contemporary class and just let it all out. I can't imagine my life without it.
Football was the only thing I ever gave myself a chance to do. But through the practice of yoga, it taught me how to develop other aspects of myself.
I showed up on competition day not realizing I had to be able to climb a rope, and I'd never done that before in my life. I was back in the athlete warm-up area, just terrified. I wasn't sure if I was gonna be able to do this thing. I got with a few of my adaptive friends, and they gave me some pointers, and I ended up doing 7 more rope climbs in the competition. I loved it because it forced me outside my comfort zone.
If you want to do any kind of sport and you're not the stereotypical person to do that sport, if it's something that you love, you should do it.
We've known the traditional strength, lifting weights and doing all the activity, but this is the internal strength.
A new kind of strong entails changing what the expectations are, raising the bar, and surprising not only the people watching what we're doing, but surprising ourselves too and what we're capable of.
Thank you. And now it's my pleasure, and I'll ask you to help me welcome Tom Ferry, Executive Director of the Aspen Institute Sports and Society Program.
Well, thank you, Andrea, and thank you, Dan. Thank you to the sponsors. Thank you to all of you. This is an incredibly exciting day. I see a lot of new faces. I see a lot of familiar faces. And I apologize that mine looks a little bit different than you're used to it. I was a clean-shaven journalist for 2 decades, and then this summer I decided to go all Andrea Bocelli on you. Or maybe it's just the one of those characters from The Hangover. I don't know. It's I have found it useful though. No, people don't confuse me for Paul Ryan anymore. They're much nicer to me now. Anyway, it's great to be with really 400 of my favorite people in the world, because you're here because you're a change maker. This is not just another conference, a place to go to, hear a few interesting things, eat some good food, and then go back home. I mean, you are here to change your communities, to change your sectors, to make sport accessible to more kids. This is the place where we take measure of the state of play in this country for kids, and we take next steps, very intentional next steps in moving forward. And I'm super excited by what you're going to hear about the rest of the day and the steps that will be taken over the next year. I mean, where we're going to be at the 2018 Project Play Summit is going to be in a pretty exciting place. Before we get started and I share my thoughts on the state of play in 2017, I want to tell you about a cool feature that we've added this year called Slido. It's poll questions in real time. Later in the day, you'll be able to use this tool to submit questions to the panelists on the different sessions that we'll be hosting. So let's give it a try. And if you're watching on the live stream, you can participate as well, okay? So everyone, pull out your smartphone, or your tablet, or your laptop, or whatever screen you have, and go to slido.com. Okay, SLIDO.com. Just your web browser. It's not an app. Just go to the web. Slido.com, and then enter hashtag Project Play. It's not case sensitive. Hashtag Project Play, and on there you should see an option to click 7th floor. Is everybody with me? Is this making sense? Yeah? Okay. All right, good. So on there, it's going to ask you, it's going to give you an opportunity to vote on what grade you give stakeholders in the past year in getting kids active through sports. This is actually not just sort of a cute exercise. We really believe in Project Play, in crowdsourcing things. That there's an enormous amount of wisdom in this room. So it's less important for the Aspen Institute to judge where we are right now, and more important to collect thoughts on where you think the state of play is. So go on ahead in there and enter your grades. The grades you give will be used to finalize the State of Play 2017 report, which we debuted last year. 40 key developments and insights in the past year in each of the 8 strategic areas of opportunity identified in the Sport for All, Play for Life report. Some of those findings will be used to some of those findings will be shaped by the knowledge and insights offered up by the incredible thought leadership in this room and the speakers you will hear from later today. We've got people taking notes, and we'll go back and create a one-stop shopping report for you. The State of Play 2017 report will recognize the average grade that you gave, okay, which could include a plus or a minus, but right now we're just, A through F. Where do you feel like you are? Yeah, and when the report does come out, we hope that you find it valuable and distribute it through your channel. So let's see what grade you gave. Andrea, could you pull that up? Oh, there we go. The votes are loading right now. 37, 45. 56. Oh, this is working. You guys are using this. This is terrific. I was terrified, introducing new technology. I mean, it's so much easier to have people raise hands, The code again. The code again is, we'll go to slido.com and then type in hashtag Project Play and then 7th floor. And then the poll should pull up and you should be able to vote from there. It's still loading. All right. Okay, so C is the most common grade. All right. Well, terrific. You're going to be able. We're going to keep this poll open the rest of the session. So if you want to go back, if you weren't able to figure it out, you still will have a chance to do so over the next 10 or 15 minutes. If you want to go back and edit your grade, you have the ability to do that as well. So C, I would agree with that. And here's why. I think we've seen a host of sincere efforts emerge in the past year that aim to make quality sport more accessible to more kids. Innovation is flowing into this space. The scaling of $5 golf fee programs for kids, pilots by Little League to improve T-ball, safety rating system in Tennessee for youth leagues, crowdfunding for programs in need, equipment sharing arrangements, the expansion of mini soccer pitches in urban spaces, the introduction of loosely supervised game structures wholly run by kids. We'll show you an NBC News story that aired just a week or two ago later this morning that highlights one of the bright light programs out there. You'll hear from some of these trailblazers today. They will challenge you, they will inspire you, and give you ideas that you can take back home. We've seen top-down leadership in this space from the NBA, from the NFL, U.S. Tennis Association, PGA Tour, Major League Baseball, and more have all introduced programs designed to either promote free or loosely structured play or developmentally appropriate play. We're excited to hear from Rob Manfred on what baseball has learned to date with their play ball program. Now the NHL is stepping up. This morning in New York, they're launching a new Declaration of Principles program designed to align the efforts of the entire hockey community around concepts like multi-sport play and access for low-income populations. Bravo. Today, the U.S. Olympic Committee is announcing the development of a national coaching framework, a critical first step in creating coherent and consistent standards around youth coaching. We've seen more national governing bodies push forward with creating the American Development Model frameworks designed to improve their sport delivery systems. We've seen organizers of the LA 2028 Olympics negotiate for and win $160 million from the IOC to support youth sports in Los Angeles over the next 10 years. One of the big ideas we put on the table in our 2015 report, Sport for All, Play for Life, a playbook to get every kid in the game, was a tech solution, a development of a search marketplace that can connect parents with a full array of sport and recreation opportunities in their communities, a Yelp for sports, if you will. Well, last month, NBC Sports launched such a portal through Sports Engine. It's one reason we're excited to have NBC Sports and Sports Engine with us today as Project Play Summit partners. Together, over the past 4 years, we put the issue of access to sport on the national agenda. We've created some consensus, I would say even more than a bit of consensus, around what good looks like in youth sports. We've organized the thought in this highly disjointed, highly siloed space. We've introduced the term physical literacy into the lexicon and built a movement anchored in the principles of health and inclusion. We've focused stakeholders on the critical need to get it right at 12 and under, at the base, that we can't wait until the teenage years to get kids off the couch without running them into the ground. There's also been some progress on key downstream numbers. As you can see in this chart, and let's see if I can work the most simple technology here. Ah, there we go. Now we go back. I'll figure it out. Okay. As you can see, wait a minute, is that physically inactive kids? Got it, okay, yep. There's been some progress on key downstream numbers. As you can see in this chart, the percentage of kids who are completely inactive, no sport activity at all in the previous year, has fallen to just under 18%, according to the latest data from the Sports and Fitness Industry Association. Tom Cove, you're in the room somewhere here. Thank you for helping us get together these numbers. Go to the next slide. Can we flip the screen to the next? Well, it's in your program. We've also seen a drop in kids who are active to a healthy level, an SFIA measure of kids who are involved in activities that burn a lot of calories. Not a perfect measure, but still very useful. We're seeing slight progress on another key measure, total participation rates in sports. Last year, just over 56% of kids played a team sport at least one time, even if it was just trying ultimate frisbee at a summer camp. That's sports sampling. But we've also seen a drop in individual sports. Less than 3 in 10 kids now ride their bikes, which impacts all sorts of unstructured play opportunities. In the era of hopping on your bike and riding a mile away to a sandlot and making up games with your friends, that's largely a thing of the past. The new reality came through loud and clear in our state of play scans that we conducted with the Ralph C. Wilson Jr. Foundation in Southeast Michigan and Western New York. Those reports, released in June, and which you have copies of in your packets, show that playing sports in your neighborhood with friends rarely happens anymore. You can see that erosion in the bottom line on the graph right here. Good. Kids who play team sports on a regular basis. We're not talking about kids specializing in a sport and playing year-round. Being a core participant in the estimation of SFIA could mean playing just a couple of dozen times a year in any form, organized or otherwise. Honestly, I think it's a mild victory the erosion isn't greater, given the competition for kids' attention that digital forms of entertainment now provide. 82% of kids ages 8 to 11 have tablets today. 59% have smartphones. 64% of kids use the internet many times a day. That's up 32% since 2012. And what are they doing? Watching a lot of YouTube. For kids ages 5 to 7, YouTube has tripled in popularity in the last year alone. Today, only 9% of kids mention sports when asked what their favorite weekend activities were. That's down 31% since 2012. This space is changing at the speed of Moore's Law, driven by technology. Rich Luker, one of our speakers today, has research on the implications on the sports industry. We know from his work that kids who play sports are 3 times as likely to become avid fans of a sport. Most boys ages 12 to 13 no longer define themselves as avid fans. The percentage of girls who are is growing, but it's still only at 39%. The sports industry has a pipeline problem. We cannot assume that kids are just going to play sports, then buy sports stuff. We need to try a lot harder to give kids competition experiences they desire, just as video game companies do. Fail to put the child at the center of the experience, fail to make the game accessible to all kids regardless of family resources, and you'll pay a price. U.S. Soccer last year mandated that all affiliated organizations move to a birth year eligibility model, breaking up teams across the country of classmates playing with classmates. No one asked the kids what they want. Minimal efforts have been made to support leagues in Latino communities. Our new editorial director, John Solomon, explored this in stories we published this week. Among kids, regular soccer participation is down 26% since 2011. As you may have read, youth sports is now a $15 billion industry at least. Sean Gregory, who wrote the cover story for Time magazine this week on this topic, is here to help us understand what's inside that economy and where it's headed. But this we already know. Youth sports is separating into sport haves and have-nots based upon whether your family can afford travel ball. And as Dev Patik from SFA puts it, tournications. It's a new word in our lexicon. Today, team sport participation rates among kids from the lowest income homes are half that of kids from upper income homes. Half. The irony is, for all the money flowing into travel ball, it's not, in youth sports, it's not actually more professional, it's just more commercial. Most coaches are still not trained in the key competencies of working with kids. And more than a few are like this guy, a parody by comedian Scott Bergen that went viral on YouTube last year. Can we cue it up?
Okay, I want to make, this is our last night. Everyone understand, last game of the season, Aiden, eyes on me. Aiden, eyes on me. I want to make sure you guys remember what our goals are when we step on this field. Jackson with an X, what's one of our goals when we step on this field?
To do your best day.
Okay, not even close. Blaine with a Y. Blaine's not here. Blaine, did you get over that bloody nose you got? Okay, good. What's one of our goals when we step on this field?
We do our best and try to win.
I like the second half. Nate, you got another one? Rylan, you don't have any other goals. Aiden?
Get out.
Okay, negative, Ghost Rider. All right. Did we learn anything this season?
Yes.
Our goals, no, not even close. Our goals are, listen, our goals are to hit dingers. Everybody better have their eyes on me. Eyes on me, Rylan. Hit dingers. Disgrace the pitcher's family. Make the other players cry and stomp their butts into the ground. Does everyone understand that? Does everybody understand that?
It looks like
look, fellas, look. There are two types of people in this world. There's two types of people in this world. There's winners and there's losers. And just so that we're clear, every time we step on this field, our goal is to be a winner. And if your dad has said, oh, it doesn't matter whether you win or lose, just as long as you have fun, well, I hate to say it, your dad's a loser. Okay? So let's get our hands in. That team's pretty good, but we are gooder. So let's go gooder on three. Let's go gooder on three. Here we go. Hands in. Hands in. Hands in. Come on, talk to your English teacher here. Gooder on three. 1, 2, 3. Gooder! Go.
Jack, you're gonna keep
Gooder on three. Teaching the right lessons there, right? Anyway, raise your hands if there's one of those guys in your town. All right, a little bit higher. Okay. Now keep your hand up if you're that person. Come on, you're among friends. We'll forgive you. The truth is, there's actually a little bit of that guy in all of us. We all want to win. We're all competitive, and we sometimes have to tamp it back a little bit. And it's because there's often a scoreboard on site, or it's in our heads on who won the game and who lost. There are social rewards for winning and social punishments for losing. Increasingly, jobs are on the line in this industry as well if you don't win. We need a new scoreboard for sports, one that measures success based on the numbers that count most. How many kids played this year? How many returned? How many sports did they try? How many of their coaches are trained in the key competencies in working with kids? How many kids are from our most vulnerable populations have access to this often wonderful institution? You know, are they receiving equal access to the fields? I understand what we're proposing here. I really do. The culture of sorting winners and losers, I've researched it in my book. I mean, it transcends sports. It really goes back to the social Darwinists and the industrialists of the late 1800s, who elevated the construct of winning as a means of promoting a competitive ethos, of moving our society forward in a manner that supports capitalism. But in youth sports, there is no meritocracy, no level playing field. Winning a game or tournament is usually not a matter of how great a coach you are or even how hard your players tried, but how many early bloomers you were able to aggregate on one roster. There's a time to sort the weak from the strong and even to specialize in one sport. It's just not before age 12, before kids have grown into their bodies, their minds, and their interests. That should be a development zone, a place of mutual investment in all kids, regardless of zip code or ability. It's in our best interest as a society to do this. Our healthcare system needs healthy bodies to control costs, now approaching 1/5 of our GDP. Our politics need citizens who know how to compete fairly and with respect for their opponents. Our communities need parks and public spaces where people can gather, sweat, and get to know each other. Done well, youth sport can lay the groundwork for the good society, which is something we talk about a lot at the Aspen Institute, and I imagine is a value of yours as well. But we're not going to get there merely with a statement of opportunity, and we're certainly not going to get there by trying to turn back the clock. Let's be honest, we had nutty sports dads in the 1970s as well, and sport wasn't all that accessible to girls and disabled kids. But we need to take a business-like approach to driving success. Today, that means starting with data. Baselines, metrics, key performance indicators, or maybe we should call them key play indicators. In your event programs and signage, we have surrounded you today with numbers that will help you think about which ones belong on the new scoreboard for sports that we propose. I encourage you to capture and elevate data in your own sectors that can help your leaders focus on what really counts. Create shared measurements to track progress and identify potential interventions. You can do this at the community level as well. If you're sticking around for tomorrow's workshop on how to mobilize local leaders, we'll give you some practical tools on how to do that. Allow data to transform the approach to the delivery of youth sports, just as big data has transformed decision-making in transportation, retail, even professional sports. There's a good reason the infield shift in baseball, why it's stuck around. It works, and that's based upon, data analyses. We've also surrounded you today with the faces of children, the imagery, because we should never forget that we are here to serve them, all of them, not just the ones we are most directly are raising. If you're a for-profit operator, please, by all means, make money in this burgeoning space, this $15 billion, probably more, space that's as large or larger than football or college football or any of our professional sports. Just try to do so with the filters of health and inclusion, the core values of Project Play, which is all about building healthy communities through sports. It's what every kid in this country deserves, and it's what we owe ourselves. Okay, we good? We gooder? Okay, hands in on 3. Gooder? Come on, hands in. Hands in. Okay, 1, 2, 3. Gooder. All right, excellent, terrific. Andre, do we have a final grade here that we could pull up? We're having trouble switching slides. Anyway, you'll find the final grade in the State of Play report. So there you have it. With that, I'd like to bring back up Dan, who will introduce you to not just kid faces, but kid voices. Dan?
Well, that coach's video was a little disturbing, but we'll try to do gooder with this chat with the people that really matter. And it's really getting to the heart of the of the matter here, why we are all here, and that is for the kids and get their perspective. So without further ado, I'd like to bring up this year's kid panelists, and I'd like to start off by introducing the 10-year-old from Buffalo, New York, who likes track, basketball, football. Ladies and gentlemen, Brenton Baker. Brenton, how are you? Good to see you, pal. Have a seat. He's all lobbed up, looking sharp. Next, we have an 11-year-old from Baltimore, Maryland, a Playworks junior coach. Can't wait to talk about her experiences with that. Her favorite sport is basketball. Ladies and gentlemen, Nina Locklear. Hey, Nina, how are you?
Nice to meet you.
Good, nice to meet you. Have a seat. Welcome to the panel. And last but not least, he's 9 years old from Montgomery Village, Maryland. He loves soccer. In fact, he plays with the Soccer Association of Montgomery Village, and his favorite soccer player is Neymar Jr. This is Andrew Ramos. Hey, Andrew, how are you?
Good.
Good. Have a seat over there. Welcome, guys, ladies. First of all, let's talk about why you love sports. I think that's probably, let's start there, and we'll start with you, Brenton. What kind of role does sports play in your early life? I know you're only 10 years old, but give everybody a sense of how important sports is for you and what it does for you.
Sports, it helps me learn new plays, new skills, and developments, and sports. They're fun, and I think everybody should play it, because if I have fun, then everybody would have fun in sports.
Very good answer. Nina, what about you? What got you into sports, and what do you love about it?
Well, what got me into sports was all the boys in school would say that the girls were too girly, and they always worry about their hair and stuff. And I was like, that's really not true, because my brothers and sisters, they loved sports when they were children back in the day. So that taught me that, so just because I'm a girl doesn't mean I can't do sports. Yeah, a little girly. I do worry about my hair and stuff because I don't want to look nice. But the thing is, when you play sports, it's like playing with your own family, but you meet new people every day. When you play with other people that you barely don't even know. But when you play these sports, you learn something from it. And that you're playing, well, you're not just playing with people, you're playing with family.
Very well said, Nina. And Andrew, that's a tough act to follow there. She nailed some very good points. But what drew you to sports? What do you love about it?
Well, my brother, he would always play soccer. So, I wanted to, when I first tried it out, I was so bad. But when I got to this team I'm in, I upgraded a lot, and it keeps me active every day.
Very good. By the way, we were supposed to have a fourth panelist, Claire Vachon, but she ran into some travel issues. And just to give you an idea of how badly she wanted to be here, her mom was going to drive from Detroit. They're from the Michigan area, and she was going to drive from Detroit. That's how bad she wanted to be here. She's going to be a part of the program a little bit later on, Claire will. So she might be a little bleary-eyed, but she's excited to be here as well. Let's continue the conversation with you, Brenton, and talk. I don't know if you saw the video of the coach they showed there earlier. What sometimes do you like about the coaches that you've had? What kind of things have you taken from them that you like? And maybe what do you think some of these coaches have to improve on a little bit?
I like how they get everybody into the game, and they teach everybody new skills. And I do not like about coaches is that they're putting pressure on you, and they're always thinking that you can win or you'll do very well. But if, say, for an example, if they put you in a play back to back, or you had to run an event back to back and you were really tired, you wouldn't do so well.
Yeah, and sometimes, I think you remarked earlier, they got to be a little patient with you guys, not assume that you're just going to pick up the playbook like Tom Brady would and all of a sudden memorize it, right? Be a little more patient with you guys?
Yeah.
You know, what about you? What do you like about the coaches that you've been in contact with, and maybe what do you think they have to work on a little bit?
Well, the thing I actually like about the coaches is that they teach you teamwork and things that you do have to approve on when you play. But one thing they could improve on is try to be more patient with the kids when, you know, they play basketball or do football, because, you know, those are very hard sports, and other sports, they're kind of hard. But on those two sports, I think it takes some time to gather up on all those skills. So really, to me, I think they just have to improve on being patient with the kids.
Andrew.
Like the same thing that Nina said. Like if you take a shot on away from the goal, you gotta be more patient, cause if you miss, you tell you run a lap around the field. But I think you should be.
You don't like that?
No.
That doesn't motivate you any further, right? If you've got to run a lap, you're saying that. Okay. Yeah. Brenton, what about the way you deal with sports? You suffer from some asthma. Mm-hmm. How has that affected the way you play sports, and maybe the way some of the coaches, do the coaches take that into consideration when they're coaching you? Do they know about that aspect of your health? And how has that affected you in sports, if anything?
It affected me in a good way because when I had asthma, it made me push more harder. And now, when I pushed harder, I'm the 6th fastest kid who runs the mile, and I think all kids who are sick should benefit from that too. They should work harder, and because you can do anything, it doesn't matter if you're sick or not. And my dad always told me, if you're sick, I used to be scared of running. And my dad said, don't be scared of running, be scared of not getting to the race.
Yeah, pretty good advice. A little bit of a contrast from the guy in the video we saw, the coach. Nina, you are involved in as a junior coach with Playworks. Yeah. You're pretty young to get involved in the coaching aspect of sports, so I'm interested to see what kind of experience that's been for you, being a coach in that. Tell us about that program.
Well, it is a very good program for children who don't know how to, control their anger or deal with their emotions. And it also teaches you teamwork, as every other sport should, and every other coaching should. So as they do, they teach you how to control your emotions in school or anywhere you go, because, some kids might have some trouble with that. So they teach you that, and they also teach you how to be a coach, which is also a very good thing, because you can teach other kids what to do and what not to do. And I'm not saying just boss them around all day, but it's teaching them how to work together with other coaches, especially people that you do not know. Because when you don't know somebody, be like, oh, I don't like them, oh, they're different from me. But it doesn't matter if you're different. It really doesn't, because really everybody in this room is different. Everybody. So if some young ladies were going against the men and I was still a junior coach, I would have come in here what's going on? We're all family in here. Because we should all be treating each other with respect, not disrespect. And when we treat each other with disrespect, we don't treat each other like a family anymore.
Well, if the athletic, yeah, very well said. If the athletics don't work out for you, Nina, I think you got a coaching future ahead of you as well. Andrew, you love soccer, and you love to play it all the time. But I thought it was interesting, some of the comments we got from you before you came out here. Sometimes kids just need a little bit of a rest from the sport too, don't they? And how do you deal with that when maybe the soccer gets maybe a little too intense? and you're just a kid who likes to do other things. How do you deal with that, maybe with your parents or your coach?
Well, sometimes, if I practice every day, so like on Saturday and Sunday I have games too, like tournaments and all of that. And sometimes I tell my mom that I'm tired, so and she says okay, and she calls like the coach and tells him, oh, my kid, he says he's like, he needs a rest, and then I stay at home, watching TV, playing some video games.
But so sometimes, is it safe to say that sometimes you guys just need a break from sports? I mean, here we are at a conference here that really emphasizes getting out and being active, but you can maybe take that sometimes a little bit too far to the extreme, right, Brent, sometimes?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
How do you deal with that? Do you sometimes need a rest as well, or no?
Yes, because sometimes when I'm running, I just come after running an event, and then I have to do another event back to back, and I'm really tired, I don't feel well, and I still have to run, but I push through it, and yeah.
So Nina, when you look at your friends, and obviously the phones and being on the web and the internet are such a huge part of your lives these days, what do you see from your friends? What do you think you can tell them about sports and how important it is to get involved in sports and just get outside and enjoy things away from some screen somewhere, right?
Well, what I tell my friends is that try to get off the phone because it starts to get really annoying. But my friends also, they're very kind and they like to meet new people and a lot of people because they have a lot of friends. So I always tell them, try to get off the phone and do try some sports, but also don't do a sport with all of your friends. Try to do like a sport with one of your friends and then do it with a lot of people that you do not know. Because for me, I tell people it's actually a very good time to actually sit down, relax, and watch TV. But it's also a very good time when you get up off your phone, away from work, away from school, and you go outside, play with your kids or play with your friends, and do some sports or something. Because really, when I'm watching TV too much, my dad would stop me, and he would make us smoothies, and we would go outside, drink our smoothies, and then we would play some sports. And we usually play kickball because we have a lot of space in our backyard and stuff. So we'll play that, and we'll play like a whole bunch of other stuff. We'll go to the park. We'll probably go meet up with some friends and ask them, can they join us? Because it's a very important thing to go out there in the world and do different things that you've never done. Like me, I'm trying smoothies, literally, and I like them. They're delicious. I didn't like smoothies at first because I would watch my mom make it and it looked kind of disgusting when she blended it up and stuff. So when she made me them, I was like, I don't like the taste. But when she put the fruit in there, I was like, ooh. So yeah, it's always a good time to get a smoothie or somewhere and play sports. Get your friends, get family, because without your family and friends, it's really not fun. But it's also fun when you meet other people that you don't know. Because I'm seeing all of you right now. I don't know any of you, none of you. But now that I see you, I'm like, you're my family. It don't matter where you live, what you look like, you're my family, and I'm gonna remember that. Because every day, we have a different person in our life every single day. So all of you, even y'all people over there that's sitting over there right now, all of y'all, yeah, y'all too, all of you are my family.
Right. Nina will be hosting a breakout smoothie session later in the day at 3 o'clock, so you can hashtag Nina Smoothie on that. Andrew, again, how do you follow that up? But You mentioned you like to get on your video games, but what kind of message? I mean, what is sports? Why does it make you feel good to get away from the TV, away from the screen, and get out and play sports? What is it about sports, and what should these people keep in mind to emphasize to kids when they say, get off of that screen, go play sports? Why should they go play sports?
Because it's fun, you meet new friends, and it keeps you active, and you get a lot of exercise. And once you have the hang of playing a sport, that's when it gets funner and funner. But sometimes you need a break, and playing video games and then play sports. Yeah.
And Brenton, what do you like most about sports? What is your end message here with the group here? Why should kids play sports?
Kids should play sports because they shouldn't be always on their iPad or phone. They should get out and have fun, enjoy time, and sports is fun and extras, and it can help you in certain ways. Like I had asthma, it helped me open up my lungs, and I think if you're sick too, you should, and you're playing in the house or like on your phone or watching TV or playing video games, you should get out because it can help you, and yeah.
And Nina, even when you're not the best player on the team, I mean, it is not, I have 3 girls, they all played sports, 2 are better than 1, you know, the other one, but we didn't force her in, we said you pretty much have to play sports, and she ended up liking it. So you don't have to be a star on the field. I know sometimes kids get a little bit sensitive, well, I'm not that good and I don't want to play, but it's important just to participate, right?
Yes, it is, because myself, I was never good on football and basketball because I was a girl. But the thing is, once I got into more doing the sport, I was like, oh, I'm actually getting pretty good at this. But at the same time, I wasn't a pro. So it didn't matter how good I was, how bad I was. The only thing that mattered was that I was working with everyone on the team, which also made teamwork. Just as everyone says, I don't know if everyone says it, but just as everyone says, teamwork makes the dream work. And that's exactly what it did for me. And I think it would also help other children to understand that sports isn't just a game. It's a game that you play with people that you do not know, and also a thing that you do with other people that you really do not know at all. You might think, oh, I saw her in school, but I don't really know her. Just because you saw him somewhere doesn't mean you know him. Don't know him at all. Like, I see y'all, I don't know y'all like that, but y'all still my family.
Andrew, we'll end with you. What's been the most satisfying thing about playing sports, and what do the people out here in the audience need to know from a kid's perspective on that?
Well, sports are fun, and you can always play it. And just as my coach said, nobody's better than another. We're all the same. And, well, when you play sports, every time you practice and practice, you get better and better. But if you miss out like a lot in practice, that's when you get lower and lower. And it's important to play sports if you want to get, like, if you have a dream to be good at, like, example, soccer. You gotta practice and practice instead of going like playing video games on your phone all day, and play some sports to have fun, enjoy it, and complete your dream.
Well said. Guys, I want to thank you for being here today. Thank you so much. We've got Brenton, Nina, and Andrew. Thank you very much, guys. Appreciate it. You guys go ahead and take off. Nice to meet you guys. Thanks. You can moderate whatever sessions you'd like as the day goes on. I think we all learned a lot from those 3. One more round of applause for the kids who came out. And just some of those things to keep in mind as the day goes on. The kids' perspective, there's nothing like it. And I think we all learned a lot on how you can apply some of those things to your brain power that you're going to be working on through the kids' minds today. As we mentioned, there are some great panels coming up in addition to the smoothie panel hosted by Nina. So later this morning, we're going to break out for the first set of the strategy sessions. And throughout the day, you will get to choose what topics you want to engage with. The panels are tied to each project plays 8 strategies, as Tom was mentioning, narrowing in on one emerging opportunity, plus a few other topics, including a session on the industry itself and the opportunities for collaborations when major organizations, we've got a lot of major organizations here, when they connect with each other, great things happen. You can prove the access, the quality, the sport activity for the kids, and you can check your cardstock agenda for timing, topics, and rooms as far as that goes. After the panels, you'll also have the opportunity to join the panelists, the moderator, and other attendees at continuing conversation sessions throughout the day. See your agenda for those opportunities as well. And we've also, in the middle of the day, we're going to come back together and we're going to have a one-on-one conversation, as we mentioned, with Major League Baseball Commissioner Rob Manfred and author Terry McDermott, so you don't want to miss that. That's going to be special. Later, we're going to be led in a physical activity by another youth. We've got 10-year-old Emily Roski from November Project, and we're also going to hear from national and grassroots organizations about what they're doing to grow access to sport. Before we announce a major new initiative here, and it's really an exciting one that I know that Tom and everybody with Project Play are anxious to get to, let's first revisit our friend Slido that Tom introduced you to earlier. We want to know what grade you stakeholders are going to give here as it relates to the morning strategy sessions we're about to adjourn to. So let's get the phones out or whatever you have to vote with again, and let's go ahead and offer your vote on a couple of topics and questions that I'm going to throw out to you. So once again, log on to slido.com, use the hashtag ProjectPlay as the access code. Once again, select the 7th floor and vote. Let us know. Here's the first question. What grade do you give stakeholders in the past year in giving kids a voice in designing sport activity? Once again, what grade do you give stakeholders in the past year in giving kids a voice in designing sport activity, actually having them be a part of exactly how they go about the activity? There's some good research that suggests that what kids want and what we think they want are not necessarily all in the same. So have we done a good job with that? That's why Project Play's first strategy is to do what we just did here and ask and formally solicit the youth here, which we just did, to try to get some ideas onto designing an activity in the manner which they would enjoy it the most. So that's a really important thing. So maybe we can go ahead and check some of the results. We've got a lot of votes coming in, and looks like it's more than half with a D. So it looks like there's some improvement to be made there. But I think that's a critical aspect of getting kids involved. If you're not getting them involved, why aren't you getting them involved? How are you going to make it fun for them? You really got to ask them, get plugged into what their 10, 11, 12-year-old minds are all about. Then you can go from there, and then you can guide them down the road to getting exactly what you want in the long run from them. So that's a very, very good thing to keep in mind. Here's another topic. Let us know, what grade do you give stakeholders in the past year in encouraging free play for kids? A grade for giving free play for kids. It's what Tom touched on earlier. Remember when we were in our neighborhood, we'd all hop on our bikes and go here, go there. It was kind of this whole kind of blank canvas to go out and discover the neighborhood, get on your bike, invent games. Did it all the time. Just got in the backyard, and depending on what kind of sports equipment you had, whether it was a baseball, a wiffle ball, you just kind of invent this game. So it's that kind of freedom and creativity that has really become less common with the past generation here. So once again, it's a very important part, free play for kids, and we've got some other votes in here. And once again, a C at 33%, and mostly D is the grade there. So another thing to keep in mind. So good voting, up to 151 votes right now on that second topic. I want to move to the next question. This is a big topic, and I think I know there's going to be a lot more discussion on this throughout the day when you have the breakout sessions. What do you give stakeholders in the past year in emphasizing prevention of head injuries and other forms of abuse? Obviously, so much new research coming your way with CTE and football, how it affects your kids. It's not just football. It's hockey. It's other sports. It is a huge topic, and I think from a bigger perspective, even to the big business of sports, this is really going to paint the picture of where a lot of sports go down the road, how they're played, what rules are continue to be instigated to protect the kids. It means developing policies and practices that limit the injuries. A recent survey found that 16% of parents won't let their kid play any sport because of concussion concerns. This is a huge, huge topic, so it really is important to address. It also means preventing other forms of injuries as well as physical and emotional abuse. That's also in this category as well, and that'll be a topic of one of today's panels. So go ahead and vote on that, and we have right in there about a C and a B grade. That's probably indicative of the publicity that this particular topic has gotten. So it's out there, but it obviously needs to be developed further. So another good response there, 166 and counting for that one. Next question, what grade do you give stakeholders in the past year in providing quality community-based leagues? Revitalization in-town leagues means creating sports environments in which classmates can play with classmates at a much lower cost than travel teams require. Tom was alluding to travel teams, and they're great. They obviously foster some great competition at an elite level, but not all kids can participate, not only from a cost standpoint, but just the managing of the travel schedule is getting in a car and getting your kids, anybody that's done the hockey thing and other sports, it is demanding on a family. So if you can create more of a sports environment at the local level, that's what I did when I grew up. It was just all in my local town of Tucson, Arizona. We just went from one sport to the next, and we had a pretty good community and a pretty good group of people and parents that volunteered to make sure that that happened. So it needs to be more inclusive. We need more than just the club and travel teams, and even those teams need to be more inclusive. So figuring out ways to involve all the kids in that. Most of the grades there, as you saw there, were a C. So that's another important thing to keep in mind. And finally, what grade do you give stakeholders in the past year in providing developmentally and age-appropriate programs? What grade past year providing developmentally and age-appropriate programs? Obviously, there's a big difference between a 6-year-old and a 16-year-old. And there's definitely a nuance between all of these sports and the way you set up the programs just because of the ages. I mean, kids go a long way in 2 years, and so it needs to be age appropriate that represent their stages of growth. Math teachers know you can't teach calculus to 3rd graders. You have to learn more foundational math skills first, and in youth sports, it pretty much runs the same way. You've got to get kids the right equipment from the ground up. You've got to give them a sense of the rules, a sense of how the sport is played, the field dimensions, and on and on and on. So you have to fundamentally prepare them from an age-appropriate standpoint. And obviously, as they get older, it gets a little more complicated. So let's see what the grades are there. You've got just a grade of C. So obviously, a lot more work to be done on age-appropriate programs and developing the right system for kids, whatever age they are. So that's a good way to start off. Let's get the mind rolling again as we get back into the sessions a little bit later on today. Just give you a sense of how you feel the job has been done here in the past year or so on each of those. So how can we, the stakeholders, better serve children through sports? How can like-minded organizations and even competitors work together more effectively as a group to spearhead all of these things we've talked about? At this time, I'd like to announce a really exciting thing here with Project Play 2020. It's a multi-year effort by more than a dozen leading sport, health, media, and other organizations to grow national sport participation rates and related metrics among youth. Project Play 2020 represents the first time that industry groups and leading nonprofits have come together to develop shared goals around making sports accessible to all children regardless of zip code or ability. That is pretty much the theme and the mantra of this whole day. And so when you get all of these powerful organizations working in the same direction as a unit, which is what this Project Play 2020 is all about, this is an exciting, powerful component that's going to drive this this cause down the road. Guided by Project Play framework, the group will develop mutually reinforcing actions as well as new collaborative actions designed to get kids off the couch without running them into the ground. So there is a balance there that, Project Play 2020 is sensitive to. Actions will be determined by working groups over the next 3 years based on annual priorities. So it's now my honor to introduce some of the people or all of the people here that are going to be involved in this exciting Project Play 2020. These are the people that are behind this. So would each senior representative come up to the stage when I call your organization's name and then stand over to my left. And we will begin with Major League Baseball, represented by Chris Marinak. MLB has made youth participation a priority for the league. Play Ball is the league's signature youth program encouraging enjoyment of both formal and casual baseball and softball activities. And in just a couple of short years, Play Ball has emerged as a model program for what's possible when a league works with mayors and youth-serving organizations to grow participation. Can we bring up Chris from Major League Baseball? Thank you, Chris. Represented now by David Krajewski of the National Basketball Association. The NBA's junior NBA program, presented by Under Armour, is the league's grassroots youth participation initiative. It offers a free curriculum covering all levels of the game for players, coaches, and parents. It's reached more than 5 million youth ages 6 through 14 since launching its expanded efforts just a couple of years ago. And between MLB and the NBA, Project Play 2020 benefits from engagement by leagues tied to the two largest youth sports. This is a great opportunity to create change at scale with Major League Baseball and the NBA behind this Project Play 2020. Thank you very much, guys. Representing the Dick's Sporting Goods Foundation, Beth Baran. The Dick's Sporting Goods Foundation brings to Project Play 2020 a demonstrated commitment to grow success and access in an array of sports. I love the commercials, by the way. They are fantastic. I don't think you can watch those without grabbing a Kleenex. But that's what it's all about, inspiring the youth. And since 2014, the foundation and its parent company have pledged more than $50 million to such efforts. Its groundbreaking Sports Matter program has raised awareness of the importance of youth sports and saved more than 1,800 youth teams throughout contributions and a crowdfunding tool. So hats off to everyone, you, Beth, as well, at Dick's Sporting Goods Foundation. Representing Target is Andrea Nielsen. You heard from her earlier. Target has recently made health and wellness a corporate giving priority. It has granted more than $50 million to organizations across the country helping youth and families increase their physical activity and eat healthier as well. And as Andrea noted earlier this morning, Target supported Aspen's development of the parent checklist that can be used to ask key questions of themselves and local programs when introducing a child to sports. Thanks again, Andrea. Represented by Laura Robbins, Hospital for Special Surgery, which I have visited on a couple of occasions. It's been great care. HSS is a national leader in sports injury prevention and treatment, ranked as the #1 hospital in orthopedics by U.S. News and World Report. HSS serves an array of sports organizations from professional to high school to youth, helping to keep athletes in the game. This is a huge component of sports is maintaining the health of all these kids, and you want to make sure you've got the best in the business to do it. And HSS has been a real leader, providing knowledge and resources that Project Play plans to tap into as it identifies the healthiest ways to play sports. So thank you very much, Laura. Represented by Michael O'Donnell, the PGA of America. And the PGA of America, which I know a lot about, has been doing great things for not only its 28,000 men and women who grow the game of golf, but now that the PGA of America is on board in this Project Play 2020, providing it with leadership, one of the most often played individual sports among youth below age 12. Sometimes we hear that, wow, golf is going away, they're not building golf courses anymore. I don't believe that. I think the youth is being introduced to this game in more great ways than ever. We need to improve on that. And Michael and the PGA of America are just have been a great organization, and they're going to be a great partner here for Project Play 2020 as they continue to invest in making the game available anywhere to anyone, with a model that also encourages multi-sport play as well. So, Michael, thank you very much. Representing the New York Roadrunners, Rachel Pratt. Now, the NYRR is just synonymous with running and the continued emergence of this sport as a world sport. World's leading community running organization it is. It serves more than 250,000 young people across the United States. And tomorrow, the Roadrunners will launch Rising New York Roadrunners. It's rebranded comprehensive national youth running program with an updated research-based curriculum, customizable digital tools and resources, and fee-free registration for events. Running is a great activity for kids. Put on the tennis shoes, head out the door, get outside and enjoy it. Thank you very much for being here today. Represented by CEO Dev Patik, Sports Facilities Advisory. SFA's mission is to improve the health and economic vitality of communities. SFA produces financial forecasts, funding support services, and management to youth and amateur sports facilities. And since 2003, this great organization has served more than 1,400 projects, valued at more than $8 billion. And Project Play 2020 will benefit from SFA ideas on how to engage the facilities industry. Dev, thank you very much for everything you and Sports Facilities Advisory are doing. The American College of Sports Medicine, also a part of this Project Play 2020, represented by CEO Jim Whitehead. This organization is the world's largest dedicated to the field of sports medicine and the exercise sciences, a supporter of Project Play since the inception. ACSM produces research, advances policy, engages a wide network of medical, scientific, and public health organizations who already embrace the Project Play framework, and Jim says they are eager for more tools. So he's been on board since the start and continues to be. Jim, thank you very much. The National Fitness Foundation, represented by Chris Watts. This foundation is the only congressionally chartered nonprofit focused on health and fitness. And with a concentration on quality fitness and physical education, this foundation leads the Presidential Youth Fitness Program. It's the nation's model for fitness assessment in schools, gets into the grassroots at the institutions themselves, and it currently reaches 7,300 schools, impacting 3.2 million students. Chris, thank you very much for being a part of this as well. You've heard a lot already about the Ralph C. Wilson Jr. Foundation, and Jim Boyle is here. The Ralph C. Wilson Jr. Foundation is a grant-making organization that invests in the quality of life of the people of Southeast Michigan, Western New York. In partnership with Aspen, this foundation surveyed the state of play for youth across 21 counties, the first ever regional assessments of youth sports activity. And the reports identify potential activation opportunities for Project Play 2020. So the Ralph C. Wilson Jr. Foundation remains a very important part of this cause. So thank you very much, Jim, once again. Sports and Fitness Industry Association. Led by CEO Tom Cove, SFIA's membership consists of more than 500 leading manufacturers, brands, licensors, distributors, and retailers of athletic equipment, footwear, and apparel. Sports and Fitness Industry Association produces the nation's leading annual sports participation survey. How important is that? And has worked with Aspen to create a deep dive statistical understanding of trends among 6 to 12-year-olds. That work will go even deeper with Project Play in 2020. Thank you very much, Tom. Global Obesity Prevention Center at Johns Hopkins University. Represented by Bruce Lee, the GOPC is the first center in the world dedicated to bringing a systems approach to obesity prevention and physical activity. It'll help Project Play 2020 design, plan, and evaluate the impact of potential interventions using analytics, big data, and computer models. Bruce Lee of the GOPC. Thank you very much, Bruce. Now represented by Patrick Wickstem, Ketchum Sports and Entertainment. Ketchum helps brands connect with their audiences, passions to deliver their company's story and drive business. And that team will support Project Play 2020 in its communications strategies. So Ketchum Sports and Entertainment with Patrick Wickstem. Thank you very much. The United States Olympic Committee, represented by Chris Snyder. The USOC serves as the National Olympic Committee and National Paralympic Committee for the U.S. The USOC works with the national governing bodies of sport and other organizations to develop athletes for our national teams. We're running out of real estate up here. The USOC is a key leader in promoting developmentally appropriate play among all age groups and plays a key role in quality coach development throughout the landscape. So it's not just about the Olympics every 2 years. This is an ongoing cause by Chris and his team. And welcome to Project Play 2020, Chris. No surprise that Nike is on board of this big time, and represented by Caitlin Morris. Nike believes in the power of sport to unleash human potential and build community. It fuels this through Made to Play. That's Nike's commitment to getting kids moving through play in sport so that they can lead healthier, happier, and more successful lives. Nike has been a long-time supporter of Project Play since its inception. Caitlin, thank you very much. And last, but certainly not least, my employer, the NBC Sports Group, represented by Jody Vogelar, the Vice President of Marketing of Sports Engine. And this is a really exciting component that is just getting started, really, and what it can do to help organize kids' activities and sports throughout the country is really exciting. I had a chance to talk with Jody a little bit about it. Sports Engine is a leading provider of web software and mobile applications for youth and other programs, as we've got a microphone down. It's going to encompass more than 600 teams, leagues, and clubs to help manage, connect, communicate with a range of stakeholders. And this month, Sports Engine introduced a consumer portal that helps parents find the array of local sports programs available to children. And one of the ideas called for in the Project Play report. So thanks to you all. This is an exciting day, this announcement, but this is a lot of corporate firepower and a huge brain trust that's going to help this Project Play go beyond 2020. So thank you very much for all your support. So the members here have decided to initially focus on a couple of Project Play's 8 strategies: encourage sports sampling and train all coaches. The members will develop opportunities to introduce kids to more sports, grow the quality and quantity of the coaches, and the Aspen Institute will coordinate activities, help analyze opportunities, and support the development of tools and resources. Among those resources are the parent checklists that you have in your packets. You may want to check those out when you get a chance. Digital forums will be created in the coming months, and members of Project Play 2020 will look for opportunities to distribute them through their networks, the kind of mutually reinforcing action this group can take, working together. We hope you consider sharing them as well. This afternoon, several members of Project Play 2020 will explore what's possible when silos connect for kids. And as Project Play 2020 moves along, there will be opportunities for your organization to plug in. Stay tuned for that as plans are made for a broader Coalition. So as we say goodbye to the folks up here on stage, actually we're going to keep them up here, I think, for just a couple of moments. You can stand there for a little longer if you can. I want to now introduce Craig Robinson for a quick word. A lot of you know Craig. He's a vice president of player development for the New York Knicks. Come on, Craig, get this team rolling. Who, along with his sister, Michelle Obama, made a call to action at last year's Project Play Summit for the industry to grow access for sports, to sports for all kids in all communities. So I'd like to bring up Craig for a quick word.
Wow. Thanks, Dan, and thank you guys and gals. I don't know how many of you were here last year, but it seems like it was just a short time ago when we did this call to action, and it is absolutely amazing how fast that this formidable group got Project Play 2020 off the ground so quickly. So we really appreciate that. And the framework to introduce more sports to kids is near and dear to my family's heart. And seeing this diverse group of stakeholders is both powerful and inspirational, and my sister sends her regards. Finally, as a coach, the emphasis on good coaches and good coaching will be transformational. So I don't want to take too much time, but I just want to thank you from the bottom of my family's heart and the bottom of my heart for getting this thing going so quickly, and good luck and Godspeed. Thank you. Dan?
Let's get those Knicks turned around, pal, all right? Come on. We're all waiting.
This is supposed to be pressure-free.
You're right. I think we need that coach in the video to turn the Knicks around. Well, maybe that's a whole other matter. Thank you very much, Craig, for being here. Now I'd like to introduce Dr. Don Wright of the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services. Don serves as Acting Assistant Secretary for Health, as well as Acting Executive Director of the President's Council on Fitness, Sports, and Nutrition, and Director, Office of Disease Prevention and Health Promotion under HHS Secretary Tom Price. That is quite a title, deservedly so. Let's bring up Don. Don?
Thank you so much, and good morning. Well, congratulations. This is truly an exciting announcement. What a great way to celebrate Childhood Obesity Awareness Month. Let me say we at the Department of Health and Human Services look forward to supporting and uplifting the shared goals of Project Play 2020. We're indeed grateful to the Aspen Institute and Tom Ferry for their vision and leadership in bringing some heavy hitters together to solve the public health crisis of physical inactivity among our youth. As my boss, Secretary Tom Price, has said, we deeply appreciate the role that sports play in America and in fulfilling the department's mission to improve the health and well-being of all Americans. As most of you know, our country faces a tremendous challenge when it comes to obesity and physical inactivity, especially for our children. And that is why Secretary Price has made childhood obesity one of his top 3 priorities, along with the opioid crisis and serious mental illness. Just yesterday, I had the opportunity to watch the induction of our new Surgeon General, Dr. Jerome Adams. Many of you may know Dr. Adams. He served as the health commissioner in the state of Indiana and worked alongside current Vice President Pence in that endeavor. Certainly, our new Surgeon General will be working closely on the opioid crisis among his other responsibilities. And I think all of us understand the variety of issues that are associated with misuse of medications that are prescribed for pain management. And certainly the sports community is affected by that issue as well. I suspect in this audience, many of you are interested in the state of the President's Council on Fitness, Sports, and Nutrition. And let me promise all of you, as soon as we have a list of new council members, I will share that with you immediately. But also let me assure you that for now, the council team will continue its great work on the programs that we administer. Everyone in this room has made a valuable commitment and investment to promote youth fitness and to fight childhood obesity. And in many cases, I have to say that's in partnership with the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services. I want to thank all of you who have helped uplift the physical activity guidelines that were released in 2008, specifically the recommendations for those Americans aged 6 to 17 to do a minimum of 60 minutes of physical activity each and every day. I want you to be aware that we're currently looking at the science and we'll be updating those guidelines and releasing them sometime in 2018. Again, thank you very much for your dedication. Thank you for your leadership. We look forward to working alongside you to move the ball on childhood obesity prevention through youth sports. Thank you very much.